Hi, I'm Sophie Espinasse, and I've spent my whole career, coming up for 35 years now, working within the learning and development field. I've had the opportunity of working with a wide variety of organisations and benefited from observing lots of really great practices and some not so good. I joined Konexo at the start of 2024 to bring all that experience to develop our client learning proposition, with the aim of supporting our clients with their specific learning and competency needs across their entire business, including customer-facing teams and supporting functions such as management roles, quality assurance teams and complaints management. I'm conscious we're living and working in a fast-paced and ever-changing world, and the importance of ensuring that organisations equip their people with the knowledge, skills and behaviours to perform their roles confidently and competently has never been greater. We know that regulators from across different sectors are calling out poor training and lack of focus on employee competence as being directly attributable to poor customer experience and outcomes. We also know that employees expect to receive the training and support they need to develop in their roles and careers. A recent industry report, which interviewed over 1,000 Gen Z professionals about what they're looking for in a job, found that 29% of them expect to receive regular development opportunities such as training. In fact, when asked what would make them leave a job, 72% said that they would leave if there weren't such development opportunities. Ultimately, providing effective learning and development is really just good business sense. Who doesn't want competent employees who are confident and satisfied in their job? How this is actually achieved in practice will look different from company to company, as each organisation will have different needs depending on a variety of factors, such as the size of the company, the nature of the work, and the skill set and experience of their workforce. We're going to explore a few areas today, focusing on the changes we're seeing in L&D practices and some top tips for getting it right. Over the course of my career, I've seen a lot of changes and developments in the learning environment, and none more so than over the last few years. The impact and aftermath of COVID had significant implications for how organisations engage with and support their employees, including, of course, how their people are trained and the development they receive. We've also seen a technology advance in leaps and bounds. AI seems to be the two letters on everyone's lips at the moment. This has seen some fabulous developments in the digital learning space. These two factors alone saw a significant increase in the use of digital and remote learning solutions, starting out a necessity during lockdown and continuing since then, with lots of positive outcomes, but perhaps also some things to be mindful of. I'm a big advocate of the use of effective digital and remote learning when appropriate, as there are many advantages, such as consistency of content, accessibility and flexibility. They really do allow learners to access and complete coursework at their own pace and fit into working schedules easily. They also provide efficiencies, as they don't have the costs and administrative burden associated with more traditional learning methods, such as in-person training sessions. These benefits are leading organisations to adopt these learning methods, as they're often the quickest, cheapest and easiest solution. And there is also no doubt that we will continue to see further improvements in this space. At a recent conference, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that computing power is now doubling every 6 months, so the opportunities seem endless in this area. However, there are some limitations to consider. In particular, I'd question whether they fully equip someone with the right knowledge, skills and behaviours to perform their role competently. For example, in the financial services sector, it's vital that a company's people are trained on how to identify and support vulnerable customers effectively. And it's not uncommon for organisations to say they've achieved this because they've provided relevant e-learning modules. But does that mean that Joanne Bloggs, working in their customer services department, can take that really important information and translate it directly into her conversations with customers? I'd suggest not, at least not on its own. These types of digital solution, when done well, provide a really solid foundation of core knowledge required, which can then be built on with other learning solutions to provide a blended learning programme. Essentially, when looking to develop or change skills and behaviours, then practical, role-specific training that allows the learner to apply their knowledge in context of the day-to-day activities required in their role is really what's needed. It should provide a safe space to practice, get feedback, observe good practice, ask questions, check understanding, and receive reassurance and coaching as is needed to really equip that individual with not just the knowledge they need to perform their role, but also the skills to apply it confidently and competently. This type of learning is best achieved in a face-to-face environment, and ideally in person rather than remotely to really get the full benefit, particularly when you're focusing on important aspects of their role. It's much easier for someone to simply not fully engage via a remote training session, whereas an experienced facilitator would be able to spot this in a training room and have the skills to engage that individual appropriately during the event. And sometimes it's what happens outside the training room that can really make the difference to someone. For example, the chat over a coffee, providing some additional coaching over lunch. You can't quite build the same relationship online as you do in person, and there's a danger that we forget about the power of human interaction when considering how best to develop and support someone. This carries on through to after the L&D intervention. What we don't want is for someone to complete a training course and then go back to their job and it's as if nothing happened. Or worse, they're told to forget about that. That's not what happens in the real world here. It's crucial that when considering a person's development in their role, it goes beyond completing the relevant training courses. A vital step is what happens post-training. For example, how does their manager help them translate what they've learned into what they do on a day-to-day basis to ensure it's really embedded into working practices? We know from the change curve that if we are asking someone to do something new or differently, it's likely to take a little while for them to feel comfortable and confident with those tasks. The training they've completed is simply the first step of that journey. So, in summary, my 5 top tips for effective learning solutions are to always have the end in mind. What is it you're seeking to achieve with this piece of learning? What is it you need your people to know, understand, and be able to do? This will ensure that you not only get the right content within your learning solution, but that you can select the right types of solution that will best allow you to achieve your objectives. And often this will be a blend of different types of learning solution. It's also vital to root the learning in the practicalities of the role, ensuring it's engaging and will equip your people to be able to translate that learning into their working practices. All of this is dependent on ensuring you have the people who have the right knowledge, skills and expertise to create and facilitate the relevant learning. And don't forget the follow-up and embedding. Good training puts people on the right path with the right knowledge and skill set, but it is not a once and done activity. Ensuring your people stay on that path is something that happens in the workplace, and the more focus you have on embedding that learning, the more effective it is.